Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, June the 26th. It's race number 8 at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Let's throw up the field for the Nobody Listens handicap. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. This race is for Indiana breds. $100,000 is the purse. We have a big field in here, and it's a pretty competitive group, Mike. The morning line favorite, 7-2, far outside. That's the 10, Mr. Chaos, who enters in very good form.
Understand why he's the favorite. I'm with you. It's kind of wide open, but I sort of understand why he's the morning line favorite. That just based off of the 3 starts so far this year, he's run well in all of them.
Big field of sprinters on the dirt, so we're expecting some speed. We'll throw up our Timeform US pace projector for the Nobody Listens, and Timeform US believes this race will be run at a quick clip. The number 2 Classic Max was on the lead last time out, as was the 3 Butch's Best. These horses are quick. I'm not sure they're absolute blazers, Mike, but the pace has to be solid, and Mr. Chaos, the 10, he seems adaptable to any sort of setup.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a pretty solid pace as well. And you're right. The good news for the favorite is he wants to be forward, Dan, but he's just very tactical, and he's never really looking for the lead, but he does race up close.
The horse coming off a rallying effort in a stakes race at Prairie Meadows would benefit from a fast pace. That's the one. Chip off the old block. And this guy's won 8 times previously at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. He likes the cooking here. He likes Indiana bred competition. Here's his most recent start. This is the Ed Skinner Stakes at Prairie Meadows. He got a pretty good trip saving ground, but the pace wasn't fast, and he ended up getting wired, maybe a bit pace compromised in this race. He's digging along to be second, and he might get a better setup here.
Yeah, just not a real factor in this race, chasing the favorite home in here. But he's clearly second best with a really nice trip in this race. I thought he ran fine. He's got a great post on the rail. He's also got a really good running style for this race, Dan, because I think they go a little faster in front of him here. He's probably a better fit with these horses anyway. I don't know if you're getting 12-1. He's a great price on the morning line.
Yeah, certainly has some back class, earning over $500,000 in his career. The 2 is Classic Max. Classic Max finished second last time out to Mr. Chaos in a state-bred handicap back in early April. Now, he got to the front that day. I thought he made it pretty easily. There was a little bit of pressure. He spurted clear in the stretch. I just thought Mr. Chaos was better than him that day, although he did have a little bit of an excuse. It was his first start off a solid layoff.
Yeah, I think that would be maybe the one takeaway from it, because I'm with you. I didn't love his performance in there and didn't see an excuse for him, except that it was his first start back. And so, listen, maybe he just needed one there, because when you go back to the races he was running at the end of last year before the layoff, he was getting pretty good at that point. If he just needed one off the bench, he could be way tougher this time.
He has hit the board in his last 5 dirt starts. And remember, he does have that good early speed, as does the 3, Butch's Best, who comes into this race off of a win against Indiana bred Claimers. Let's watch this performance going 3/4 of a mile, only his second start of the year. Butch's Best just made the lead very easily. 3 strides out of the gate, he was in front by a length, and he really never gets pressured. It was just an easy performance. I think the key takeaway is he earned an 87 buyer speed figure in this Claimer, good enough to win this race.
It is. These are sometimes these can be the toughest races to evaluate, though, Dan. I mean, did he really improve that much in that race with the class drop, or was it just a function of trip? Because as you've already pointed out, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. He made the lead. Nobody ever challenged him in there, and he was clear all through the stretch. I didn't really know what to do with him. Obviously, if he runs an 87, he could win here. I'm going to bet that he probably won't run that race against this field.
CJ's Storm is the number 4. This is another horse that has recently shown early speed. He was the pace presser last time out in the William Henry Harrison Stakes. That was a race that Mr. Chaos won from just off of the pace. He ran pretty well that day to be 3rd, Mike. Maybe he's slowly racing himself back into shape. This will be his 4th start of the year. I think he needs slight improvement, but he has a race or 2 that makes him interesting.
His best race will give him a chance in here, and I suppose you could just argue that he does sort of have the right running style for this race day, because he'll be forward, and I don't necessarily know that he needs the lead to be effective. He's run against several of these horses in 2 of his 3 starts so far this year, and personally, I didn't see the excuses for him. I just figured, to me, he just wasn't good enough either time.
The 5 Manuelito upset the 2023 edition of the William Henry Harrison. Couldn't get it done last time out in that same race at 12-1, although he was kind of down inside. Maybe that wasn't the most comfortable spot for him. I think here they take him back. They try to make one run and swing him to the outside.
See if it sets up a little bit better for him this time, because in those 2 recent losses to Mr. Chaos, I mean, I don't know. I didn't think they went really fast in either of those races. It's pretty clear going through his back races. When there's a little bit of pace in front of this horse to run at, he will run and he'll earn a competitive figure too. I think this race sets up a lot better for this horse.
Zappin at the number 6 is another horse that might get a better setup than last time out. I just don't think the tripper's really there. Not a great break, in some traffic. We'll watch the replay later for Zappin, but he ran a good fourth, and it seems like he's slowly rounding himself back into form.
Yeah, I like that about him too. I really don't care for the trip that he pulled in that Harrison last time. I still thought he ran pretty well. Even that start back in April, Dan, where he's behind a couple of these horses. I mean, he's away from the gate last, and that's sort of a constant issue for him. So he's going to have to overcome that. But he's away last. He's in traffic, pulling up the backstretch. They have to take him all the way out wide in the stretch. He was making up ground on those horses, and they were not going fast in front of him. I think they will go faster this time. I think he's interesting at a price.
Pickle Feed is the number 7. This horse showed speed in the Harrison. He made the lead. He took pressure. He ended up finishing second behind Mr. Chaos. Maybe being in between horses and battling for the lead wasn't the most comfortable situation for him. But still, I thought Mr. Chaos was just simply better.
I did too. At least for this horse, though, he did some good things in that race, and it was finally, it's sort of a forward move day because he had trouble really improving, and it feels like his last 2 starts are a real step in the right direction for this horse. I don't love him in this race, but maybe he takes one more forward move and is there at the end again.
Big price on the morning line for the 8th. That's Air Marshall, 30-1 on the line. Blinkers coming on. This horse has raced with blinkers earlier in his career to no avail. He's probably a little bit of a better horse now. A winner 2 starts back. Last time out, just didn't show a lot of stamina. Maybe it was the sloppy track. If you want to make that excuse, you got to win coming from off the pace 2 starts back, but he just has to run a lot faster.
Yeah, that's the real issue for him right now, Dan. Even if you want to give him the excuse for the last one, I mean, what other race are you going to point to that makes you think that he can beat this field? I don't really see it on paper.
Follow the Money cuts back in distance, and I wonder if he's slightly more effective at slightly longer distances. He chased a runaway favorite last time out in a 2-turn race. He did get right up close to fairly moderate fractions, couldn't punch on home. That seemed like a good field, though. The 4th place finisher came back to win an open first level allowance with a 77 buyer. Maybe sprinting, he's just going to be taken off the pace, and if this pace collapses, I can see him kick. 6-1 on the line. I'd like a little bit more, but I think that's pretty much, it's pretty fair.
Yeah, it probably is. I don't think I'd bet him at that price though, because I'll agree with everything that you said about him. I do think there's a chance he's better going longer, but the race 2 back, he's another one. He was off the layoff in there. He was way back out of it early, and they just really weren't coming back for him in there. I mean, I didn't think he ran great, but maybe this race sets up better for him. I would need a way bigger price than 6-1 though if I was going to bet him.
Here's Mr. Chaos, our morning line favorite, coming off a win in the Harrison where he beat 4 of the same foes he'll face on Wednesday. Let's watch Mr. Chaos, who settled off the pace, swings widest into the stretch. He's going to collar Pickle Feed, who runs second. CJ's Brew's going to run third. You're going to kind of see zapping it in behind horses. He'll end up 4th.
Yeah, he's got those red blinkers on, zapping it. He's sort of had to force his way through there. By the time he is clear, it's way too late. But Mr. Chaos, I mean, I just can't knock what this horse has done. Not only this year, but what he's done throughout his entire career. He's really reliable. He's got a great running style. He's drawn outside the other speeds here. He can get a similar trip to the one we just saw him pull right there. And it did take him a while to fight his way to the lead, but he fought his way to the lead and he was best.
Mo Wins the 11 is an interesting long shot, I believe, getting blinkers for the first time. His form is sort of dirtied up. Last time out, they sprinted him in Oaklawn in a $75,000 optional claimer. Just too tough that day. The winner came back, ran third for an $80,000 option at Churchill with an 87 buyer. They tried turf with him 2 starts back. That's not his surface. You go 3 starts back, he ran pretty well against Mr. Chaos with the style that would work well for him here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's also worth noting, too, I know Mr. Chaos beat him that day, but he's traded decisions with that horse earlier in his career. He's beaten Mr. Chaos in the past. So we already know that he can do it. And I'm with that. I feel like maybe he's just dirtied up on the way into this race, and he's a really, really good price. I wonder what the blinkers on is all about. I don't know if I love that.
Win Me Over is the number 12. This guy's coming out of a win. Let's watch Win Me Over's victory, albeit over sloppy footing. And he was able to save ground, Mike. And as you can see, there's a giant opening for Win Me Over to shoot on through. He takes advantage and he gets the bob.
Yeah, he's going to narrowly get the job done here, but he's very game, even with this trip working out. I thought it was a decent performance. And now he's third off the layoff. Isn't there just a chance that Win Me Over is better sprinting? They ran him 8 times last year. They only sprinted him twice, and he just never really took a forward move. They started sprinting him against this year, and he's finally taken that forward move. I think he's just a sprinter.
He certainly has, and as a lightly raced 4-year-old, there's no reason to believe that his improvement is done. He might continue
Yeah.
moving forward, especially if you give him the correct setup. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Nobody Listens handicap. Let's see if someone listens and gets a winner from us on Wednesday. Zapping it off a little bit of trouble last time out. He might get the right setup. He should be a fair price.
Just hoping he gets a better trip in here. I do think he's going to be a good price. And I think he fits with these horses. So I'm going to give him a chance in here at a price down. Listen, Mr. Chaos, he's the horse to beat. I didn't think he was a standout in here. I thought the 6 was interesting. I thought the 1 was interesting. You have him on top. I thought the 12 was interesting. I wanted to sort of fish around for a price here.
As always, it's all about price. I'd love to get the 12-1 on Chip Off the Old Block, and I think there's a chance that maybe he's a forgotten horse. I thought last time out in a short field, he was kind of wired in a slow-paced race. Maybe he gets a little bit more to run at this time, returning to his favorite surface. 1, 3, 10, 4 for me, 6, 10, 12, 1 for Mike, and then Nobody Listens handicap at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. It's the 8th race on Wednesday. Good luck.